good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you are watching this. Welcome back once again to the Since I Was Young podcast for all things Heart or Midlothian. We do hope you are all good and well. The brilliant form continues in the shape of a fantastic win over Motherwell at home just at the weekend past there with a fantastic 2-0 win to extend our lead in third by 14 points over Kilmarnock, sitting in fourth. It was a fantastic day all round in terms of fixtures, all pretty much going our way as well. So, once again, another weekend, can't complain. Joining you as always is myself, Ewan Ramsey, and Alan Scrimger. Alan, how are you doing? Good, sir. You well?
Yeah, I'm very well, mate. Very well. I was there at Tynecastle on the weekend, and it was very, very pleasant.
Absolutely. I would not expect you to miss a home since I was young, Darby. Absolutely not. They are proud and loud. I guess we can start off with that in a few wee seconds. But as always, guys, with the usuals, if you haven't subscribed to the Sense of a Young podcast via our YouTube page, please think about subscribing. All the new subscribers throughout the last few weeks, thank you and welcome. And if you want to catch us on any of our socials as well, on screen and in the description, please feel free to do so. Alan is quite lively on there, so I'm sure you'll enjoy a few of his tweets every now and again. So yeah, please feel free to check that out as well. So Alan, as you mentioned there, you were at Tynecastle at the weekend there, another cold day/night in Gorgie. Obviously, we will talk about the first half as uneventful as it was, but we can start with our usual squad, as it were. So obviously we had the Clark and goal. We strangely reverted back to a back five, especially being at home, which raised a few eyebrows. So we can talk about that in a wee second. So as I said, we had Clark and goal. Then we had Kent, Kingsley, Rose, Dexter, and Cochrane all at the back. Um, was it a three of Hoff, Benny, and Fraser in the centre, and up top we had Shanks, of course, and Alan Forrest. So, what were your first thoughts in terms of reverting back to the back five? Obviously, I know we talked about this last week as well. More so for when we mainly play away from home, that's usually if we tend to actually do that, normally it would be a back five away from home, but especially against against the Motherwell as well, not a side that you would think we would want to revert back to that and to kind of have a wee bit of the offensive mind. They'd sort of set up. But what are your thoughts, Alan, on the squad and the formation itself?
I think it's interesting. I was very surprised to see the back five back. I didn't expect it, but I'm sure Naismith explained why he went with it, but I missed that particular part of the interview. But the only sort of thought I had was that Motherwell set up in a similar way, and I don't know if he was maybe trying to just play that. But yeah, it's funny. Like we did our predictions for this game last week, and I said, I expected us to win and all that. But I think because it was there and like the closer it was getting to kick off, I was sort of looking at it and I was going, Motherwell are actually in decent form. Like I know they lost to Morton in the cup, but like before that, they were actually doing okay. So I was a bit kind of not nervous because I don't get nervous at the moment, but I was just a bit wary of changing the system and then thinking this might not be a win. I don't know. Obviously, a lot of our wins recently have been away from home, so kind of coming back to Tynecastle, it was a bit like, right, let's see if we can carry it on at home. But yeah, like in terms of like personnel in the team, I thought it was a good lineup, but I was just, as I say, a little bit wary because it's that old thing of, we've been playing the back four for weeks and we've been winning, and you go, why is he changing it? Like we're winning, we're doing well, and we're playing okay. It's not particularly brilliant football to watch, but I mean, to be fair, against Motherwell, we actually played some very good stuff, but we've been getting results recently without playing brilliantly. So I was a little bit worried about changing the shape. But yeah, and obviously there was a lot of talk about Motherwell, as I said, being in decent form. The boy up front that they've got, Bear, he's on form for them as well. So I kind of thought that would be a handful, particularly sort of physically for our defenders. But to be fair, they dealt with him reasonably well. He didn't really have much of a sniff. But yeah, no, in terms of the lineup, as I say, personnel happy. I thought maybe Gordon might have played, but maybe that's just wishful thinking more than anything else. But I was happy with Kent and with Clark. He didn't really have a lot to do during the game, but yeah, it's as I say, personnel wise, I thought it was a good lineup. But just to sort of skip into the game itself, like the first half in general, it became very clear that that system wasn't working, or wasn't working how we'd hoped it would. Um, and yeah, it was frustrating to watch it, like because we had obviously, I think, most of the possession. I think the first half we had something like 70% or something like
Yeah.
that. But it was like watching the Hearts of before. It was the slow, sloppy, not quite shite, but just slow and sloppy, I would say. For regular listeners, they'll understand that the three S's, slow, sloppy, and shite, they were not all on show in the first half, but it was certainly not far off that. Lots of sideways passes, which didn't help. And yeah, it was a bit annoying to watch that because you're thinking, right, you know, I wanted us to go out there and absolutely roll them over, and I still feel like we could have. And in the second half, we probably should have. But yeah, the first half was a slog, as they have been. It's like I could say it over and over again. It's second half Hearts have come back again, and they were certainly on show at Tynecastle. But yeah, the first half, the system just didn't work how they'd hoped it would. I thought Dexter didn't have a great half. He was very much a player that I'd looked at and thought, right, because obviously with Natty back from the Asia Cup now and sort of back in the fold, you're looking at Dexter and going, right, this is the chance for you now. This is a challenge now. Natty is the first choice right back because he's our permanent player. So as well as Dexter's been doing in his absence, it's like, well, Natty's back now, so it's up to you to try and stay in the team. And I have to be honest, that like for that first 45 minutes, Dexter was really irritating me because not in the sense he wasn't doing enough. He was getting the ball and he just wasn't like he almost didn't believe in himself to like make an impact. Like every time he was going forward, he was turning around and passing it backwards. The one time that he took on the Motherwell fullback, it was towards the end of the first half when I think it was probably already decided he was getting taken off. And he took on the fullback and he beat him so comfortably. He just blitzed right past him. And I'm like, if he'd been doing that for the last half an hour, we might have been getting in because Cochrane was doing it down the other side. But yeah, the system, for whatever reason, just didn't work. Motherwell defended very well, sat in and just allowed us to have all the ball as teams do. And Naismith's kind of said that already about, you know, teams coming to Tynecastle and just sitting off us and letting us play. It's like a show of respect to us, which it is, but we also have to find a way to break that down, and we didn't in the first half. But yeah, I think that was more down to Motherwell's ridiculously dull approach to just sit back and allow us to do everything. Anyway,
Yeah.
I've kind of rambled on there a wee bit, but yeah, that was my rant for that.
Right, Joe. So on to the second half. No, no, no. I mean, you did make a few good points there. I mean, just starting with like when you mentioned him there, I thought I don't know why, like it might have just been me in terms of just watching it on the TV, but I thought Dexter had a lot more space on that the right hand side to actually do something with the ball. Obviously,
Yeah,
like I'm sure when teams do the research when they come to Tynecastle, they know that Cochrane is an integral part of that team on that left hand side. Like him, we talk about Shankland and the likes of Forest as well, for example, like having that good link up play. Cochrane seems to have that with Shankland as well. Like anytime that he gets in a position to cross the ball or to pass it back, like or do whatever, Shankland 9 times out of 10 always seems to actually be there, like as well. So I'm guessing that they must have took that into account to almost have the spotlight a wee bit on there Cochrane, which obviously gave him a Dexter like a bit more room and space. But I do agree in the sense with Dexter, like there were a few times where he was a bit frustrating in terms of like it was a bit like Gino esque where you know if he got past a player, you would obviously like expect him to just get it in to the box, but there were a few times where like he actually got past the Motherwell fullback, came back, tried to take him on, come like like
Yeah,
just trying to keep it simple, but like you said, I don't know if it was a more a kind of trying to trust his own like sort of judgment to make the right call, but I think him getting off at the second half was probably fair. Like I
yeah,
don't. This is probably I didn't say that he had a bad performance. I would only say that it's probably been his worst throughout the time he's been here so far. And but don't get me wrong, he has done well. Just like on this like occasion that like it didn't work out, but going sorry, pardon me, going back to what you were saying there, like I thought, I mean, I would probably give a wee bit of credit to Motherwell. I did actually think that they did defend quite well, as annoying as it was for us, obviously. Like because
yeah.
9 times out of 10, maybe apart from Rangers, Celtic, and Hibs, most teams come to I need to pretty much sit back and just soak up the pressure, let us have control of the ball, dictate the tempo, and just try and break us down and to catch us on the counter. So that whole first half, like I mean, throughout the first half, I mean, you could probably clarify it, but there were a few boos, but not as many as I expected this time round as well, because obviously, you know, when you see us like struggling to break through, not passing forwards as such, just banging it about eight. Like it's been a Hearts thing for years now. Like halfway through the first half, the fucking boo, and it's just like, bro, just calm down. It's a process. But I mean, just overall, like before we move on to the second half, I mean, what were your thoughts in terms of like at halftime? Did you expect a change like straight in and out of the second half, or did you maybe have that a kind of Robbie esque kind of feeling? It's just right. We'll wait until the 89th minute and then we'll change something. We'll catch them off guard, then we'll change something.
It's funny. I thought because Benny went down with a wee knock in the first half, and it looked like he was probably going to come off. But he came back on and played for a little bit longer. But I felt like Dexter would have been off because I just felt, you know what, he's not been effective enough on that side of the pitch. And again, it sounds like I'm targeting him, but I'm not. There were a few
No.
players that didn't play as well as they can. Um, but yeah, I felt like Dexter coming off at halftime was an obvious change. I felt like they would change the system, but I didn't quite know how they would do it. I had a feeling we'd go back to the back four just because it gives us a bit more control and probably more players in a forward area as well. Um, because I didn't think we had enough of that. I thought Neuenhoff, I really, really rate Neuenhoff, as I've said recently. But in that first half in particular, he wasn't really getting in the game as much as you want him to. I think he was playing a bit too far up and maybe just kind of floating around. I think him and Fraser in particular were sort of getting in each other's kind of spaces sometimes, and it just didn't work. But yeah, the halftime changes of I didn't expect two, to be honest. Because when Benny came back on, I thought, oh, he looks okay to carry on. So I just thought we'd probably see a like for like with Natty coming on and Dexter going off at halftime. But obviously, Nazy obviously quickly recognised that the system that we were playing in the first half just didn't work. So he brings on Natty Atkinson to take the right back spot, and he brought on Kenny Vargas at halftime, which I was a bit not surprised about. Like it was a good substitution, but I was wondering how they were going to set up and where Vargas was going to go in relation to Forest, because I didn't know how that system would work. But it's like you say, it's nice to see changes being made when they should be made, like having that bit of kind of urgency. Because for as much as Motherwell defended well, that game was there for us to win, and I think Naismith would have known that. I hope he would have known that from watching that first half, because Motherwell, and it sounds like I'm being ridiculously critical of Motherwell, maybe I am, but they were very happy to just sit and defend and not really offer very much. They had a couple of opportunities in the 90 minutes that I can remember. One was the long half volley that Xander Clark had to tip over the bar, and the other one was the boy Lennon, when he was 1-on-1 with Xander Clark and he just forgot where the goal was and put it wide. But other than that, they didn't really offer anything. So I think Naismith probably went in at half time going, right, we have to change this, because if we change it, we'll go on and we'll win this comfortably. And I think that obviously is what it ended up doing. So yeah, no, it's nice to have a manager that can recognise that and go, right, we're going to change it now because this is what we need to do to win the game.
Yeah, as you do, Gerald, and to actually take the action straight away rather than right, we'll just let this play out, and then and we'll see where we're at halfway through the second half. No, I think that or oh fuck, sneeze, sorry.
Yeah,
Thought it was
right.
gone. When, to have that urgency, to make a change straight away. I think it's great. We said it. After the game, that I'm sure you saw the tweets as well, that every sub that came on made an impact.
Yeah,
You're talking about Natty, Vargas, Tate, who I'm warming up to so much. Every game that he's played, fair enough, he might have not made a ridiculous impact, but I know a few tweets that I've seen in terms of his stats. Every one of them, in terms of if it's passing accuracy, if it's like the heat signature, anything like that, it's all very steady, and that's what
yeah,
you like to see. And also Oda as well. I thought he had a good game as well. So in that sense as well, we can go to the first, well, let's say main event as such. Who it's like at this point I'm getting talking about him, man. I 25 for the season. Like there's no denying, if you're sitting at 25 goals just past the halfway mark in February, there's no denying that that man will get 30 goals. Can he, probably since before we were born? I don't even know what the stats are on that, but a man who scored 30 goals in a season in a Heart shirt, I don't know, but I back on the score sheet again. It was a great we crossing from the Alan Forrest again, which I'm sure that you were quite happy about as well. And a beautiful header down and head to the ground and past Kelly in goal. So I 25 goals. Add an extra zero to that price tag, sir. No.
it's phenomenal, isn't he? I
Mm-hmm.
say it every week. He's just phenomenal. And I mean, like he had the thing that we didn't even touch on in the first half was the yellow card that he got, which was
Oh, let's say
the
I will talk about his goal first, and then we'll talk about that.
yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll
Because
talk
that was a
about
horror show, fucking horror.
that. It was, but the goal was very good. We we've always kind of not been great with set piece deliveries, but Forestino just decides to whip across in, and it's right on the head of Shankland. And like as soon as you see Shankland make that run, but he didn't even really have to make a run; he was just there.
Yeah,
He just knew it was inevitable. I'm sure I said it last week or whenever, but or maybe the weeks prior to whenever he scored a goal. But Lauren Shankland is inevitable. Like you can't, like if you're an opposition defender, you cannot let him do that. Like you can't. I mean, obviously, I hope you do. I hope every opposition defender from now to the end of the season just ignores him and lets him score as many goals as he wants. But yeah, it's amateur stuff, and I'm sure Kettlewell basically said that after the game. He was like, "You're giving him the freedom of the box in that scenario," and that's basically what it was. They just let him just do his own thing, and it was actually a really good header. Like he
Yeah.
headed it, like you say, he hit it down the way, and the goalkeeper's got no chance. It was funny because like at the start of the second half, I don't know if it's just because we changed the shape a little bit and we were taking time to adjust to it. Motherwell probably had their best 10 minutes of the game in that, you know, for that 10 minutes, and then the last half hour we just took over, and it was like, as I say, that the last half hour the score could have been anything, you know. Um, Obviously Shanklin started it off with a header. Alan Forrest had a couple, one that he put straight at the keeper when if he put it either left or right, it was a goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, Forrest could have had two or three in the game, and I'm not just saying that because I absolutely adore him. Genuinely, he could have. Shanklin had another one of those games though where you don't really see him very much, which is what I just love it. Like I love it about Shanklin. That I love that side of his game. Like he doesn't have to be involved in everything that we do, and I think you know lots of people that aren't Heart supporters are like, "Oh, Shanklin's carrying them this season and all the rest of it." And yeah, listen, his goals are. I'm not going to deny that, but we are just a good football team. Like, yeah, Shankland is the main part of it with the goals, but we're not a one man team. It's not, it's not set up for that. We're just a team that create very good chances. And Shankland is just in fantastic form and just is putting them away every opportunity that he gets. But I don't think Shankland was at his best against Motherwell until
No.
sort of later on. When the game opened up a bit more, he was clicking with Vargas and Oda when they came on. I think he really likes playing with Vargas and Oda, and I don't know if it's just because he acknowledges himself he doesn't have a lot of pace, and he knows obviously those two have got pace to burn. So it's like, well, you do the run in for me, and I'll just give you the ball.
Aye.
There was a few instances during the second half where he was playing through balls, and it was just I'm watching him, and he sort of went back into that kind of number 10 and let Vargas and Oda just do the running, and it was brilliant. But yeah, it's funny. Like I'm sitting here saying Shanklin doesn't get a 10 out of 10, but he probably should have because he scored a goal and he's got 25 goals for the season, which is just remarkable. But yeah, when the first goal went in, it was a huge sense of not even relief. I don't like, normally, but these games are really tight and you're like, oh God, this is going to be one of those. And then the goal goes in and you're like, oh, thank fuck for that. It was almost the first goal went in and it was almost like we expected it. And it
Hmm.
was like, we're going to win this. Like that was the vibe, certainly like the people that I was sat nearby. And it was all, there wasn't a lot of nerves. It wasn't like, oh God, it's going to be one of those days. It was almost like, we will score, we will get a goal. We're playing well, we'll get a goal. Like we will score. And then obviously Shanklin gets it and you're like, right, that's it now. This game is ours now, and it just makes a huge difference. Like it's the whole patience thing that Naismith was talking about before, and the club have been preaching for months. And that's what was on show from everyone, like players and the majority of fans in the stand. Like you say, there were some fans that were venting frustrations. For once, it wasn't me, which was nice. But no, I genuinely believe we'd get a goal, just with the way that we were playing, and to score it from a free kick from Alan Forrest just makes it even better.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. So that's now Forest, Herring, Rolls. I'm sure there was like another few in there that has been your absolute dead uh, go of all time. We slut. But the going back to
You missed
the
out Natty. You missed out
oh
Natty.
yeah, Christ,
It's the
actually,
most obvious one.
there you go. Sorry, sir. But yeah, just as we imagined it before we started talking about the goal, like it was the first yellow card of the game. Obviously, with you being at the actual game, I was your so-called VAR man. Like with watching on the TV. Um, I thought it was a great tackle. Like I'll be very honest, I thought it was a fantastic tackle. I'm not sure if you've actually saw it back or not, but
Oh,
I was trying to like once I watched it back a few times, I was trying to look and see where the dangerous play was. Now, at first, when I watched it back the first few times, I thought it was generally so. Shanklin studs are up, once he's got the ball away. However, when you slow it down, he actually like before he gets even close to the Motherwell player, he's actually brought his studs back down before he actually makes a contact with the player. Now, I don't know if it was just a first glance from the referee and he's seen the studs up regardless and he's booked them. Now, from that, I can kind of understand, but even then, though, like the danger, if you want to call it that, was taken away once his studs went down. Like you're not gonna give much contact to the Motherwell player. But I still don't understand why that was a yellow card. Like in general, I thought it was a fantastic tackle and yet another thing to add to his skill set as well as Lawrence fucking Shanklin.
Yeah,
So yeah, I, I would have understood if he said to him, right, that's your final warning, like regardless. But
yeah.
personally, I don't think it. What I think it was on the bread line of
It's
a
not a yellow
yellow card.
card.
That you know what I mean?
It's not a yellow card. The thing is, he's slid in and he's won the ball. Like
Yeah,
he's taken the ball. Okay, maybe the player gets taken as well, but he's won the ball. Like it's as clean a tackle as you'll see. You know, and it's I know what you're saying, and you're probably right to an extent. Well, you are right to an extent, but yeah, it's not a yellow card. And the one thing that I was sort of looking at, I was like, right, Shanklin's reaction, he went absolute
I know.
schizo. He was like, there's no way that's a yellow. Like you're having a laugh, and it was early in the game as
Yeah,
well. So it kind of left him not kind of walking a wee bit of a tightrope, but after 20 minutes, you get a booking like that. And as someone as influential as Shankland, there was almost like that sort of feeling in the stands of like, right, just don't say anything, just walk away. We don't
aye.
want you suspended. We don't want anything to happen. We don't want you to get a second yellow. Just leave it. You know what I mean? We all know it's not a yellow. I was sat at the back of the wheat field and I could see how clean the tackle was. The referee was 5 yards away and apparently deemed it a yellow card. But yeah, just bizarre. I thought the referee was terrible all day, to be quite honest with
Sure.
you. The number of the advantages that so he'd let play go on, and then neither team would have an advantage fall to them. So the rules are, if you play the advantage, if there's no advantage gained, you pull it back and you give a free kick. He just didn't do that. He would just let it go, and then the ball would just get turned over, and it'd be like, all right. There was one, pretty sure it was in the second half when Oda, yeah, it would have been because Oda was on, and he was making a counter attack, and one of the Motherwell players just decided to slap him in the face, and Oda went down. And the referee played advantage, and no advantage was gained. Motherwell got the ball back, and everyone in the stands is going, "Are you gonna pull it back? You know, at least speak to the boy that's literally slapped Oda in the face." Um, and the play carried on for like 2 or 3 minutes after. And then when the ball finally, I think the ball went out for a throw in, he finally went back and spoke to the Motherwell player and booked him for that, to the most ironic cheers Tynecastle's ever heard, because the referee actually made the correct decision. But yeah, just not a very good referee. I had to look up his name there because I genuinely couldn't remember him. But yeah, it's again, I'm not going to go on a VAR and a referee rant because I do it every week and I'm tired of it. But one of these days I'll say, yeah, the referee had a good game, but I'm not sure when that'll be because every referee in this country is not great.
Well, I can. I mean, I'm pretty sure I saw a headline just a couple of days ago as well that VER is here to stay. So I'm sure you'll be happy about that, Alan. Let's move on then.
Delighted, delighted.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. So yeah, the second goal to firmly put things to bed and to come away with all 3 points was our beloved Costa Rican Kenny Vargas with a very Scatchel-esque goal. I thought, and I thought it was like I mean, in terms of his goals this season, so I believe that was his sixth. They've all been very kind of. I wouldn't go as far to say as they've been lucky goals, but they've not been like firmly put away like by Vargas as such. But that was absolutely on point. I thought Atkinson did quite well, to get himself in out of the box. I think it was a shot that he had. At first,
Yeah,
like you would have been creaming out your drawers if he had scored that, my man. No, but
100%.
absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, set goal of the season, and I believe throughout the last few days as well, there's also been very strong rumors going about that we are in the process of trying to finalize a permanent deal as well for Vargas, which I think all things can consider in. He has been a wee bit of a slow, like sort of burner as such, but I think throughout his performances throughout the last few months, I think a permanent contract, I think that like he deserves it, and I think going into next season as well, especially like with the arrival of Jan Danda as well in the summer as well, like to kind of add to that the competition as well, like to those left and right sides as well. I think may spur him to like up his game as well. But overall, great goal and a very nice way to wrap up the 3 points as well.
Yeah, yeah, it was. It was a really good finish. He had one before it where he rattled the post.
Yeah, no, 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 you're right.
The cross that came in, and he just, I think it was a half volley or a volley, and he cracked it off the post. If that had gone in, honestly, the place would have exploded. So yeah, no, he got his goal, and he was brilliant when he came on in that second half. As I say, he provided that bit of energy and that bit of sort of directness, as did Natty when he came on, and Oda when he came on was exactly the same thing. But yeah, I saw the stories today about Vargas. A permanent deal is probably not too far away, which is really nice. I think it's his dad that's over in Costa Rica that's kind of been speaking to a journalist over there or whatever, and is basically saying how happy he is in Edinburgh and how happy he is at Hearts, and he's just enjoying himself.
Mm.
And I think Vargas has said to his dad, something along the lines of, you can retire early and I'll send you money every month and just to look after you. Because I don't think his dad keeps the best of health. I'm sure I read it earlier on. I think he's in his 70s or something, or maybe younger than that. But Vargas has basically said, have early retirement and I'll send you money every month because obviously he's doing well. And it shows, a 21-year-old that's come across the world, played in a totally different country, different climate. And yeah, it's taken him time to settle and it's taken him time to kind of find that form. But yeah, he's just, as I say, watching him when he came off the bench, the impact that he made was just different class. And he's clearly a fan favourite. He actually gave his shirt away to a fan at the end of the game, which I thought was a really nice touch as well. So yeah, no, I saw an interesting tweet earlier on, and I was just looking for it there while you were chatting, but I can't find it now, so I can't give credit to whoever it was. But they mentioned that Vargas has 6 goals at this point of the season, which is the same what that Gino had before Gino decided to catch fire in the second half of last season, to then move away. Gino finished the season with 12 goals last year. I think Vargas could get double figures. And if the thing is, hitting 6 goals already in your first season, it's actually not bad when you consider a lot of the times he's been coming off the bench. So yeah, as I say, I can't remember, I can't find the person that tweeted that, but I would have given them credit if I could find it. But yeah, it was just a really interesting thing, and I think, like I said earlier, the connection that Shankland and Vargas seem to have at the moment is growing, and you can see it. Like Shankland's finding him, and Vargas is looking for they're looking for each other, and it was evident through the whole of the second half when Vargas was on, he was in. That Motherwell, to be fair, when they went 1-0 down, they kind of stepped up a bit because they knew, right, well, if we're going to get anything, we have to score a goal. But they still created next to nothing, which was very pleasing. And we just controlled the game. And yeah, as I say, Vargas playing on the last defender and sort of running in behind, it was on every single time. And Shankland found them countless times, and Forrest was finding them, and it was just really nice to see that, because obviously that's what Gino used to be like. It was that sort of late run and just catching defenders out and being one on one with the keeper. So yeah, I think a permanent deal for Vargas is an absolute no brainer. Kid's 21 years old, so you know there's definite resale potential in him, and I don't like to say it like that because
No,
obviously
but
we want
part
to
of it.
sign him and we want him to do well for Hearts, but obviously if you're going to make profit, you move him on, say 2-3 years down the line. There's money in him, 100%. And he just, as I say, he just comes across as a really likable lad. And when I saw that article about his dad and stuff, I thought, yeah, do you know what? He's clearly got a very grounded head on his shoulders, which is really nice to see. But yeah, the goal itself, the touch that he brings it out of the sky was just sublime. He just kills it. And then he hits it on the turn. Like you say, it was quite Scatchel-esque. Again, I saw a tweet that was doing the rounds, and it was Vargas's goal against Motherwell, and then a very similar goal that Scatchel scored against Motherwell. He was at Hearts, so it was very, very similar. And I'm not saying obviously, Vargas is the new one, but if Vargas can go on to do even half of what Scatchel did for Hearts, then it'll be a massively successful signing.
Absolutely, very happy indeed. And as we said, that killed the game off to take away all 3 points. And as we said at the start, increase our lead to 14 points ahead of Kilmarnock, who snatched a late goal against Celtic, which I was equally frustrated but happy about. Like, even though it's 2 extra points, it's still saying, well, okay, but like, it could have been 15, but which then gets us up to 51 points, 11 points behind Celtic as well. The race is on, sir. But that is another topic for another day. And we move on, where on the other side of Glasgow, where we travel to Ibrox this Saturday coming. Uh, is this the end, Alan? Is this the end of this illustrious run of form? Obviously, we can't deny that Rangers have been grinding out results as well. Their form has not equally been as good as ours, but close enough in terms of a form, a table. But I was thinking about this earlier. I don't kind of feel any different in terms of being more, sorry, pardon me, or less confident when we visited Ibrox last time out. And obviously, it was a bit unfortunate with our last visit to Ibrox. We get there with a goal, and we get to the end of the actual game, and then they snatch it at the end. But in terms of a game plan, I'm really unsure. I saw a tweet earlier on today as well, where once again we're just amazing at remembering everybody's Twitter handle. But this guy made a point saying, "Would you start either Oda or Vargas now?" I don't know why, but I thought if Naismith maybe wants to take the route of, when we played Rain, Rangers, it might have been last season or the season before, where you know Janelli was key to that game plan, where just sitting in, trying to catch them on the break, and essentially um giving the ball to Gino to fly past folk. And I don't know if Vargas could maybe have a similar role in that, some sort of plan. But what are you thinking, Alan? Do you think, with this run that we're on, do you think that there could be enough confidence in there to go to Ibrox and maybe get our there it is, fucking half an hour later. Do you think that we maybe have a bit of more confidence about it to actually go to Ibrox and maybe get a result? Because obviously we have to take into account when we travel to Celtic Park, which I'm sure most Hearts fans can agree that it was completely unexpected. And granted, we did play well. There was a wee bit of luck in that as well, and Celtic not being particularly great, but we got the job done. Do you think there's maybe a bit of an emphasis that we can go to Ibrox and maybe try to take out a draw, or would you personally like have a bit more of an attacking minded state of mind where we want to take it like all for free the points at Ibrox.
Think it's going to be a very, very interesting game. I'll say that much. I think Rangers have improved recently. Clement's got them doing what he wants them to do, which is clearly working. They're top of the table now, so they'll be buzzing for that. And yeah, it'll be very, very interesting. And I say that every week when we do these, but I was looking back at it earlier and I actually messaged you about it when we played them in October in that game that we were winning 1-0 and then lost 2-1 right at the end. We set up in a back five in that game, and Vargas played in that game up front with Shankland in the sort of two in that game, and George Grant was kind of floating around in the sort of 10 role. So I wonder if we'll maybe do that again, or similar to that maybe. It'll be very, very interesting though. I think it's funny, like I said this to you as well earlier on today. I saw the quotes from Naismith talking about the game and talking about how confident the team is, and Cammy Devlin obviously another that came back against Motherwell. It was great to see him off the bench. I meant to speak about that earlier. He did a bit of press as well, and he was basically talking about this is a massive couple of weeks for Hearts. It's a big period of the season for us because the run we've been on has been brilliant. Don't get me wrong, it's been brilliant with the results that we've been getting. But these next three games, going away to Ibrox and then having Hibs at Tynecastle and then Celtic at Tynecastle after that, that's three massive games. And whether the run ends at Ibrox is almost irrelevant. Like, I don't mean that. Obviously, I want us to go there and get something. But if we don't, you look at it and you go, well, look how far this team's come since, the start of the season. And you can see that improvement is there. Naismith was talking about, we've got a plan, we go there and we want to win the game. And again, I said this to you earlier on. You could probably copy and paste that from a Robbie Nielsen quote and maybe even a Craig Levein quote prior to him. So, the proof has always been in the pudding rather than what they say in the media, which is why I kind of don't pay much attention to those things. But with Naismith and with this team, I do have confidence and I do have that belief of they genuinely believe in what they're saying and they genuinely believe that they can go to Ibrox and maybe get something. I'm not saying we're going to go through there and absolutely blow them away as much as I'd love to see it. It's probably not going to happen, let's be honest. But Stephen Naismith has banked so much credit for this run and for what he's done during that run, as have the players, for me to go, do you know what? If we can get a result at Ibrox, it's a massive bonus. I'm not expecting a result, to tell you the truth. I'd love it, but I'm not expecting it.
Yeah, no.
But it's not like I'm not in that typical mindset of how I usually am of going through to Glasgow, we very rarely get anything, and long may that probably continue. We're probably not going to get anything, but it would be amazing if we could get something, and I believe we've got the quality to get something. I do. I don't think the quality gap is massive. Like Rangers have got a better squad player for player, but that's because they can put millions into it and we can't. But our squad's not bad. Like I said earlier, we have actually got a good football team at the moment, and that's huge. And we've got a man up front that's scoring goals for fun. So he'll be very keen to continue that, and I'm sure the rest of the players will be very keen for the run to continue, which is a huge part of it. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I'd love us to go through there and get a win. Do I see that? Probably not, but it's the same old story, isn't it? Like if we go through to Glasgow and we just sit in and do nothing and absolutely shit it and get beat, then it's like, all right, well, that's the end of that then.
Aye.
But I think, like I say, it's a massive run of fixtures. We've got the next three games to go right, to have confidence to come back to Tynecastle and batter Hibs at Tynecastle. It would be brilliant to do that off the back of a good result against Rangers and just keep that momentum going. But yeah, it'll be very, very tough. Rangers are a good side. Like, they're not playing particularly brilliant football, but they're winning games, and that's what champions do. As much as I don't like to predict it right now, but I said it earlier on to a colleague at work that I think Rangers will win the league. I think Rangers will win the league at this point because I think Celtic have hit self-destruct and Rangers are just taking full advantage of that. So, they'll be on a high because they're top of the league. They'll want to kick on, and it is what it is. But obviously, the title race is no concern of ours because we're going to come through and win it anyway. um, we're going to go unbeaten from now to the end of the season and win it.
Mate,
So
if we get if by hell or high war, if we get 9 points right throughout these next 3 games, mate, forget about third. There's a fucking title race. Like legitimately, if we take 6 points out of the old firm in the space of 3 weeks, you can't deny. You
we're winning the
can't
league.
deny.
Yeah, get the open top bus booked now.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
The only thing that I'll say just to add on to it before I pass you it back, and it's again, I spoke about it earlier. I said I didn't want to have a rant about it. Referees, VAR. The referee for the game at Ibrox is Nick Walsh,
Of course.
possibly the worst referee in the country. And when you look at the standard of referees in this country, that is a very, very high accolade for anyone to have. And on VAR, we have an equally rubbish referee in Don Robertson. So, yeah, I fully expect a penalty to Rangers. I fully expect Hearts to finish the game with 8 men and Stephen Naismith to be sent to the stand. And yeah, that's we'll probably end the game with Frankie McAvoy blowing his whistle and looking at his stopwatch on the touchline. That would be my prediction.
Fucking no surrender. Absolutely.
Just a
Yeah.
joke, and but that's going to happen.
Aye,
Let's
no,
be
no.
honest. We should make a prediction of what minute Rangers are going to get their penalty in, rather than predictions for the result.
I'll guess 17. There you go. There
Yeah,
you go. But I'd like just to kind of put a shorter version on it. Yeah, like I'm not expecting anything, but again, in the back of my mind, saying we could, like, you know what I mean. But like, I
yeah,
don't want to have a high hope of, like, just because we came away with someone at like, at Celtic Park, thinking, right, we have to do the exact same, like, you know what I mean. But yeah, like, I'm not expecting anything, but if we do get something, even if it's a shitty 0-0 draw, I'll take it any day of the week. So in that same sense as well, Alan, just to wrap things up, do you care to have a score prediction at all?
I will go for. Do you know what? Let's get my optimistic hat on. I've not worn it for a while because I've not needed to.
Hmm.
Um, let's say that the Gorgie train to Europe is going to continue, and we're going to get a draw.
Yeah.
We're going to get a 1-1 draw.
Fuck off. Fuck
Have you
off.
done it
Stop saying
again?
fucking score lines. Seriously.
Fine, 2-2. How about that?
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm gonna go for a 1-1 draw. Thank you, Alan. Yeah, yeah, so I believe that brings us to the end of the podcast this week as well. As always, guys, thank you very much for watching. As always, if you want to throw your 10 cents in on a score prediction as well for the trip to Rangers, if you have a thought of how many points we're going to get out of the next 3 games against Rangers, Celtic, and Hibs, and if you think we're actually going to enter the title race as well, of course, please comment on all of them. But yeah, as always, guys, if you haven't subscribed, please think about subscribing through the YouTube page, and if you want to check out our socials as well, please feel free to do so. And as always, for all that is going to make the trip to Glasgow on Saturday, we do hope you have a good time regardless of the result, and we will see you in the next one. So from myself and Alan, y'all take care. Bye for now.